to another week. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. I hope you guys have endured a successful and productive week. Terry says it's been a good week so far. Thanks for asking. Of course, of course. I'm hoping that you guys are seeing changes in your week once you have been doing your affirmations every morning. I can definitely tell a difference in how I'm handling issues throughout the day by remembering to go back to um, my affirmations in the morning. Today's affirmation is so important, and I know I've been saying that every morning, but today is a big one. Today is a big one. Today's affirmation actually explains why some of us have such a hard time letting go. Good morning, Andrew. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. So I want to share with you guys. I brought the music back this morning because I wanted us to be in a very receptive state for today's affirmation. And usually I talk a little bit, but I want to get into today's affirmation early because I know I want to have a serious conversation with you guys about this. Today's affirmation is, we are on affirmation number 17 from the book, How to Win When Shit Happens. Good morning, Rodhay. Is it Rodhay? Good morning. Today's affirmation is affirmation number 17. We are moving through the book. We are halfway finished. It is July 17th. You guys remember I said I wanted to do this in July because it's the second half of the year. And we want to turn our 2020 into a positive year. We want to take charge of what's going on in our lives and make sure that we are having the year that we have designed and we've purposed, and not one. We're not just moving along. We're not just going with the flow. So today's affirmation, are you guys ready? If you have the book, you can reference it along with me. If not, I'm going to read it. The affirmation states, I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. I'm going to read that one more time. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. The quote for today is from Jay-Z. It says, even in defeat, there is a valuable lesson learned, so it evens up for me. And he has thousands of quotes that are extremely inspirational, as most successful people do. But that's one of the ones that, to me, kind of explains why he's so successful and what is so important about this affirmation today. It's important to understand. Good morning to India. That's so awesome that we're reaching India with this message. But today's affirmation is so important because we have to understand, so many of us spend so much of our life, turn this down, we spend so much time fighting and struggling against our past, right? Trying not to be who we were before, trying to erase our humble beginnings, the shame of maybe growing up in poverty or making early mistakes when we were younger. But the reality is, everything that you've been through worked to create your personal DNA that is necessary to get you where you're going, right? Everything that happened to you is a part of what makes you different. We learned yesterday that I am committed to finding the positive in every situation and encounter. And before that, the affirmation before that was, that which makes me different makes me valuable. So today we learn, good morning, little C's. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today we learn that which makes you different makes you valuable, but it's also all those things that happened to you in your past. Every single thing that happened, the good and the bad, the humiliating and the success. It's not just the successful things that make you who you are, right? Good morning, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. You guys, I want to read this affirmation one more time because I think it's just, this one is a very powerful one for me. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. Everybody's success journey is different, right? And God knows, if you don't believe if you're not spiritual, I'm not sure how you're surviving right now. But those of us that are spiritual understand that before we were actually here, there was a plan for our lives, right? Everything that you needed to become a success was already placed in you, already placed in you. All the tools, all the insight, and all that was already placed in you. Our process is just bringing that out, bringing everything that's already placed inside of us to the external, so that we're actually able to utilize it. But everything that you've gone through is going to be used to help you become your personal success. That's why my journey is different than, my friend's journey or even my boss's journey. And, this person's journey is different than that person's journey. We see two successful people. I see Oprah Winfrey, and I'm going to use Jay-Z because he's mentioned in this chapter. Jay-Z and Oprah Winfrey have very, very different journeys and their success is different. They're each successful in a different way. And so a lot of times our mistake is trying to duplicate someone else's success when we don't have their DNA. We don't have their journey. I've talked a lot about my personal history on here, and I think it's important for me to be transparent because I'm trying to, I wrote the book and I'm trying to be transparent with everybody. So I'm sharing my personal journey, but I grew up in Ohio. I mentioned before to you guys, my father was on drugs, and he made a choice, whether it was willing or unwilling, not to be a part of my life, right? So when you learn that as a child, you learn that one of your parents is a drug addict, it can be very humiliating. I was very embarrassed of that. For years, I was embarrassed of that reality because regardless of if my dad was a part of my life or not, he's half of who I am, right? And so I remember wondering, like, what could make a person be a drug addict in their 50s? Like, what in the, I thought, do I have that, inside of me? I grew up, we grew up very, very, poverty, I think, is a state of mind. My mom used to tell me that, but we definitely grew up without much. And I remember being young. I went to a school. Oh my God. I never think that people are going to call during this live, but they do. Good morning. So I went to a school that was, you had to have a certain GPA, and you had to have a lot of extracurricular activities. And my mother always taught me that poverty was a mind state. So even though we didn't have much money, she would not allow us to think of ourselves as poor. So I would never say I was poor growing up because that's not what I was taught. I was taught that we don't have much money, but that is a mindset. And so I thank my mother for having the foresight to teach me that. But I remember constantly fighting who I was. I didn't want people to know that we grew up without much. I didn't want people to know that my father was on drugs. I didn't want people to know that my mother was a single mom struggling when most of my friends at school came from two-parent families. And I spent so much time hiding that reality that I did not allow people to actually get to know me, right? You couldn't get to know Crystal because Crystal had created all these barriers to protect who she was and to hide her truth, to where the reality of myself was lost, right? And if you're not in touch with who you authentically are, it's very difficult to find success because you're not going to be able to tap into that. Success comes from authenticity, right? Authenticity and you being able to chase your passion. And if you're so busy fighting the reality of who you are, you won't be able to recognize your full potential. I want you guys to get that. If you are busy fighting who you are, fighting the reality of yourself, you will never tap into your full potential. Never, ever, ever. And every single thing that happened to you contributed to give you the skill set, to give you the outlook, to give you the perspective that is going to help you personally become the success that God created you to be. I promise. I should clap with that because I'm so serious about it. I'm going to read a little bit from this chapter. Like I said, I mentioned kind of reference Jay-Z because I think he's a beautiful example of this. We all have a beginning and we all will have an end. Most of us have experiences in our past that we aren't proud of and that we may even try to forget. Childhood trauma, family secrets, personal failures color our past and act as stumbling blocks that often prevent us from moving forward. But the truth is, every single experience you've come through has prepared you for your success. And then I reference, of course, Jay-Z. What makes Jay-Z one of the most successful people in the world to me is that he has a mental immunity that cannot be compromised. His innate ability to repel the negativity he experienced in school and the environment that he was immersed in enabled him to propel himself out of his native environment and gave him the protection he needed to navigate the often treacherous entertainment industry. His above mentioned quote, I don't know why the phone keeps going out. His above mentioned quote that we read earlier he often references when speaking on his past failures and disappointments. He was able to focus on the lessons learned during these failures and use the knowledge gained to find new success. Every single person that has reached a certain level of success, oh my God, every single person that has reached a certain level of success, if you read their story, if you talk to them, you will find astronomical setbacks, astronomical failures, lots and lots of character building examples that created a resilience and a tenacity in them, an insight in them that propelled them to where they would go, right? I would say me growing up, going to a magnet school, being bused to another side of town with children that were middle class when my family was definitely not middle class, prepared me to be able to be a publicist. You know, I knew how to create ideas. I also had a spirit that would not give up, right? Because I had to fight so hard. I had to fight so hard to be there. I had to fight so hard to compete. I remember wanting to be a cheerleader. So I'm a huge cheerleading fan. Wanted to be a cheerleader all my life, but my mother could not afford to put me in dance. My mother could not afford to put me in gymnastics. And so I remember I don't know, somehow had the tenacity to go out for the cheerleading squad against all these girls that had, you know, parents that had been able to put them in dance for years. They were all a part of this group of girls that had been together for so long. But I wanted to be a cheerleader. So I went and I tried out and I did not make it. I did not make it the first. Dang it. Instagram does not want me to be great today. I did not make it. However, what I did, because I had created this idea of what I wanted in my head, I wanted to be a kid. I wanted to have this story, right? I wanted to have this story that I came from this, came from that. And so what I did every day for the next year, I practiced. And I couldn't go to a gym because my mother could not afford that. My mother could not afford to send me any place. She couldn't even afford for me to cheer. So I worked at McDonald's. And then I went outside and I would practice on the jungle gym at the elementary school. Good morning, Ace. I would practice at the gym at the elementary school near my house every single day. I practiced for that year. And at the end of the year, the following year, I tried out for the cheerleading squad and I made it. I made it. But my point in telling this story is I didn't have the expensive gymnastics and ballet lessons that my peers did, right? And there was nothing I could do about that. But what I did is I remember walking, I remember jogging, I remember watching, because we didn't have YouTube and all that stuff back then, but I would watch other girls that had gymnastics and cheer, and I would watch them, and then I would go in this little elementary school in Tulsa, Oklahoma, across from the apartments I lived in. Good morning, Freddie O. And I would practice every day. I would practice just whatever I thought I should be doing if I was in gymnastics. I created a gymnastics, curriculum on my own. And I actually ended up making the squad. So my journey, so when I made the squad, of course I didn't tell anybody that, I was able to take dance lessons. I watched a bunch of Janet Jackson videos. But that success came from my own experience, right? And what that taught me is that I have the ability to get where I need to go. And it made me tenacious. It made me realize that I'm never going to give up. Never going to give up, right? So who we are, I just want to impart to you guys today. If I'd been able to tell like 13-year-old Crystal, who you are is exactly who you're supposed to be. You don't have to hide. You don't have to hide that. What if I had shared with my cheerleading coach at the time how hard I had worked on my own to be able to get on the team? Perhaps I could have gotten more insight, or, who knows what could have happened. But the fact that I hid it caused me to have to work so much harder because I just didn't want people to know. I was ashamed of who I was. But I want you to understand, we're going to do this affirmation, and I hope Instagram will allow me to be great this morning. I want to share this again, and I want us to I want you to really tap into this because I think this is so important in becoming the person that you want to be. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. That cheerleading story is a small thing. There are other things that happen, like I said, a father being on drugs. I have a friend that I was talking to yesterday that was molested early on, and I'm not saying in any of these cases that any of those things were good. But what I am saying is that what you went through and everything that you went through, they are a building block in making you the success that you have the ability to be. It's all in how you respond to it. Many of us have gone through things to help other people, right? But most importantly, I want you to realize what you went through how you recover from it is going to help you. It's going to help you. It's not all for other people. For so long, I would hear, Crystal, what you went through can help other people. And I would think, well, maybe, my job as a celebrity publicist for so long was just pushing other people, pushing other people, pushing other people. And I thought, well, God, what is there for me? But now what I realize and what I've realized working with people that have this mindset is that what you went through not only was to help other people, it was also to help you. It was also for your greater good. Every single thing that you endured created a strength, created a resilience. You know how when there's a virus, you have to have the antibodies. And a part of the antibodies is having the virus and your body learning to fight it. Good morning, Prince. Is having the actual virus and your body learns how to fight it. It is going through trouble, going through pain, and your body learning how to fight it. And then you take that with you and you become a better person and you're able to share that with others and you're able to get over different things that you never thought you would be able to accomplish. If I hadn't gone through creating this story, I wouldn't have known how to do that later when I started working with celebrities. I had no idea when I was dealing with those little uppity kids in my high school that years later I would be dealing with extremely uppity people in the entertainment industry. But it allowed me, by the time I got to entertainment, I'd been there, done that. It was nothing for me. I didn't see people as different because here I was, this kid that had been bused across town to go to school with all these upper middle class kids that I really, didn't fit in with. So years later, 10, 15 years later, I'm on the red carpet with celebrities, but I know how to handle myself because of what I went through. Never thought that. Never thought as a kid in Tulsa, Oklahoma, trying to fake it to make it, doing my own gymnastics at a gym across from apartment complex and right across the street from the projects where all kinds of stuff was going on. And I'm out there working out. Never thought that years later I would be on a red carpet around A-list celebrities directing and managing red carpets. Never thought that, but that prepared me for where I had to go. And I just want to impart that to you this morning. I want you guys to get that wherever you're from. You have to celebrate your past. Don't run from it. Don't try to hide it. The more you try to hide it, the more you run from it, the harder it will be for you to recognize your true potential, right? Because your true potential is in every single flaw that you've ever endured. So I want us to take a moment to breathe all that in. I know I got extremely emotional, but this is a big one for me because, like I said, I believe that most of us, if we accepted who we are, not comparing ourselves to anyone else, but if we looked in the mirror and we accepted who we are from that little kid that was ashamed or that went through pain and parents didn't understand or people had this, if we accepted that little kid and we embraced them and we loved on them, we would be so much further. But we spend so much time trying to hide and posture and get rid of that person that we miss out on the true potential of who we could be. Because the true potential of who you are and who you could be includes every single piece of your history. Every cell, every memory, everything that you've gone through. So we're going to take a moment to breathe. All of that is very passionate, very passionate. So we're going to take a second to breathe, and I'm trying to get my Instagram it's not going to allow me to be great, but we're going to take a breath. Deep breath in and exhale. Another one, a deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Good morning, Ra. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If you guys are just joining, we are on day 17. It is a beautiful Friday. I'm here in Atlanta. So much to be thankful for, so much to be prepared for, so much to live for. And I just want to share with you guys this affirmation for today. If you're just joining, is I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. One more time, I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a personal success. And we take these last breaths stating our affirmation. I want you to think about every single thing that you've gone through that's been difficult. But as you think about that, as you inhale, I want you to exhale when you think about how you overcame it, right? I don't care what it was. If it was growing up being hungry sometime, if it was hustling, if it was being in jail, if it was being and going through an illness, whatever you went through that causes you to often feel like you're not worthy. I want you to think about that as we state this, and I want you to exhale and remember how you overcame, right? We're going to do this together. Repeat after me. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. Inhale that in. Exhale. One more time. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. Inhale that in. Exhale. One more time. Breathe that in. Exhale. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. So breathe that in and exhale. One more time, breathe that in and exhale. All right. We've gone a little bit over today, but like I said, I think today's affirmation is so important in getting us where we need to be. Your success is based on all of you, not just the parts that you want to share, right? Not just the parts that you feel are worthy or fit the story, right? But the entirety of who you are. Freddie, I need to talk to you. I've called you. I need to talk to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. But your success is based on all that. I want you guys to remember that. I love you. I thank you so much for tuning in. We are on day 17, y'all. We are halfway through this book. I want you to refer back throughout the day to these affirmations that you need. Remember, you can go to the website, www.howtowinwhenshithappens. Download the playlist to keep yourself energized, keep yourself connected. Listen to some Jay-Z today. Listen to some Jay-Z today. Stay on 10. Stay on 10. If he can say he doesn't spend time worrying about things in his past, mistakes, issues, troubles, because he knows that they all led him to where he is today. And the same is true for you. The same is true for me. The same is true for everybody else out there. It's all in how we receive it and how we realize that our destiny is based in the root of what God gave us. Thank you guys so much for joining. Good morning, Frederick. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone that's just joined. I got to read our affirmation one more time before I get out of here because I want everybody to get a chance to hear it before they click off. I celebrate my personal history as it created the DNA I needed to become a success. I love you guys. I will see you here in the morning at 7 a.m. Eastern on a Saturday. That's right. On the weekends, we keep it going. We're staying connected. I love you. And be well. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.